further analysis and bring in Michael Amoah. He's an Africa analyst and senior visiting fellow at the London School of Economics. He joins us now from London. Michael, good to have you on the show. Okay, so here's the situation. The junta in Niger has shut down the country's airspace. On top of that, you have countries like France and China who are urging their citizens to get out and to get out now. This ultimatum that was issued has expired. Things are heating up. What do you feel is the most likely scenario to play out?
Well, this imminent, the latest move or act by the junta is actually because they are expecting some sort of military action from the French troops in Niger or from the American troops in Niger. ECOWAS troops are not likely, and it's not imminent because they still have a meeting on Thursday and they haven't been able to put together a military unit yet. So as far as ECOWAS is concerned, this week is not D-Day, and the D-Day is not likely to be the next couple of weeks. So the action taken by the junta to close the airspace is because they are expecting some move from U.S. troops and French troops in Niger.
Michael, you just pointed out that France said that it supported ECOWAS's position. Okay, you have other countries like Senegal who've also pledged troops in the event of a military interaction. But on the flip side, you have countries like Algeria, Chad, that clearly do not want any military action to be taken. Countries like Mali and Burkina Faso, they're coming out and saying, look, if there is military action, they're going to consider it as an action against them. Are we getting to a point where, one, there are clear divisions within the continent, and two, the situation is extremely volatile?
Yes, we are actually very close to that point. And realistically speaking, ECOWAS boots on the ground military intervention is not going to happen. Already, the 7 senators of all the northern Nigerian states, Zamfara, Katsina, Yobe, have already told President Tinubu there's no way we're going to actually allow this to happen. And this is on top of the Nigerian Senate vetoing the military intervention. And if Nigeria can't allow it, even Senegal cannot, even if Senegal and other countries put together troops, they will need to have an access point, and Benin is not feasible and Nigeria is not feasible. So we know the ECOWAS intervention will not take place. And the alliance of Burkina Faso, Mali, and Guinea is what we call international relations theory, the balance of power principle, whereby any state that is under threat finds an alliance with like-minded states in order to balance the power or supersede the power of the threatening nation. So that's really what's happening at the moment. And we're actually at a stage where it's more of monitoring and intelligence. And I think the junta are actually at that particular point where they just want to make sure. They know that the United States could send the Navy SEALs to go and kill Osama bin Laden. So they've factored in this sort of thing, and they are protecting the presidential palace very carefully so that no attempt can be made to actually go and evacuate President or the former President Bazoum. So this is the kind of scenario that the junta is actually dealing with. ECOWAS is less of a threat at the moment. It's the French troops on the ground and the US troops on the ground they are worried about. And if it's possible, they are actually ready to invite fresh troops from Wagner just for the sake of it, because they know, Mali wouldn't want to risk Wagner troops leaving Mali, neither Burkina Faso to come to Niger, because that would make them vulnerable to the presence of Islamist militias. So we're talking about a scenario where there's likely for fresh Wagner troops to be brought in just for the current description that I've made.
Michael, I'm a bit confused. Help me clear this up in my head. If you feel that troops on the ground is not an option, why does ECOWAS come out with an ultimatum like this? I mean, does the new chairman of ECOWAS, Nigeria's president, Bola Tinubu, does he feel that he needs to make a mark and take a tough stance? And that's why the bloc has come out with this threat?
Yeah, it was a rather hasty decision that was made, and I'm hoping that level-headed advisors will advise him very carefully. Even the meeting they're going to be holding on Thursday they're talking about perhaps maybe diplomatic options. Already, the ambassadors of France, Togo, Nigeria, and the United States have been sacked more or less. And so diplomacy at the moment isn't going to work. First of all, there's one thing when ECOWAS implements regional sanctions from the central bank, from the regional central bank, from the regional development bank, from ECOWAS CDS chiefs. It's another thing when Nigeria, as a single individual country, takes a unilateral decision to declare economic war against Niger by cutting off electricity. So to start with, Niger would not be prepared to talk to Nigeria or ECOWAS for that matter until the electricity is actually restored. So even the diplomacy that they are actually thinking about going forward is not likely to take place unless electricity is restored and unless certain measures are taken to bring back the status of the ambassadors that have been asked to leave.
Okay.
So we're a long shot ahead, actually.
Okay. Michael Amoah, thanks very much for joining us here on the NewsHour. I do appreciate talking to you. Thank